Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, the state legislature considers a so-called bathroom bill. More on that and other issues in our weekly legislative update with the Arizona Capital Times. We'll have the latest on how cities and towns are resisting the governor's push to overhaul the state sales tax system. And ASU's new Sparky is adios. We'll update the ill-fated mascot makeover. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Plenty of activity at the legislature with everything from Medicaid expansion to bathroom regulations being considered. Here now with our weekly legislative update is Luigi Del Puerto of the Arizona Capital Times. All right, Luigi, let's start with what sounds like the governor and leadership at the legislature trying to jockey around for position. Give me what I want, says the governor. Okay, maybe kind of, says the president. What's happening here?
It's not a threat. Not yet anyway. The governor's spokesperson said if it were a threat, it'd be laid out more clearly. And of course, as you know, the governor has not been shy about sending her or communicating a threat, if that's what she intends. What's going on is that the governor's asked legislative leaders to slow down the pace of sending bills to her office, and instead she wants them to focus on passing her priority agenda, which would include Medicaid expansion, TPT reform, and the performance funding for schools.
TPT is the sales tax simplification effort.
That's correct.
So she's saying slow down with the bills. Are they sending a lot of bills her way?
Not a whole lot, but this is the time of the session when both chambers have already crossed over bills that have been passed out of their chambers, and now the other chambers hearing those bills, and soon we would be seeing a flood of these bills getting third read, meaning getting voted on the floor and getting passed. And
she's basically saying, don't do that before you do this.
Yes, in a kind of soft diplomacy kind of a way.
Yeah. The hard diplomacy would be a threat of vetoes. Is that just over the horizon here?
It's possible if the governor doesn't get her Medicaid expansion, for one. I think many have not precluded the idea of the governor saying, you know what, we'll stay here as long as you get me what I'm asking you to do.
Let's talk about those three priorities. Medicaid expansion, we had a informational hearing today. It's still going on, I believe.
When I left the office this afternoon, it was still ongoing. I think the last person I saw speaking in the committee was Glenn Hammer of the state chamber, and he was in support of the expansion plan.
And was this informational in the sense of what was said, what was emphasized?
Well, there was nothing really novel or new about the arguments that were raised against it. Some members were concerned about the fact that it would potentially increase the federal debt. There were those who were concerned about the requirement that since this is a tax increase, that it should require 2/3 vote of the state legislature. There were a party activist who had told the lawmakers that, just keep in mind that the grassroots are against this proposal. And on the other side, we also saw the typical arguments for the expansion and how this would be good for the state, about how we would be drawing down federal funds to pay for the insurance coverage of those who are on access.
Let's get back to those grassroots votes. You mentioned that the governor said it wasn't really a threat. Those people are threatening, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, they are threatening. And in fact, they have passed out resolutions, as you know, basically saying we don't want Medicaid expansion. And implicit in those resolutions is a threat to Republican lawmakers who may be supportive of the plan, that they would get challenged very likely in a primary if they did end up voting for the governor's proposal.
And we're seeing now the governor's point person at the legislature, Heather Carter. She's already found opposition. They've already, the name of the Heather Casey is going to be facing Heather Carter?
Yes, it's a battle of the Heathers, if you will. Heather Casey is a nurse, works at an ER unit at a children's hospital in the Valley. And this week she filed the paperwork to run against Heather Carter precisely because of Carter's support of the governor's Medicaid expansion plan.
Is this a real threat here, or is it more like a warning shot to others?
It's hard to say at this point. She held, Ms. Casey held a media briefing at noon today at the state capitol. It was it was lightly attended. There wasn't much press there. There were some party activists who were helping her out organize the press conference. What was interesting to me, though, about that media briefing was that even though she said she's challenging Heather Carter because of the Medicaid expansion proposal, she refused to answer questions about exactly what in the Medicaid expansion plan she is against.
Almost has an Olivia Cortez feel to it, huh?
Well, you know, it's at this point, it's tough to say how serious she is of a challenger. What we know is that Heather Carter is very well liked in her district. I think in her last primary, she won 40% of the vote in the primary election in a four-way primary race. The second placer was Representative John Allen, who got, I think, 23% of the vote. So, you know, she ran away with the vote in that election.
It would be interesting to see just how much name confusing, though. Heather Carter, Heather Casey, I mean, you know, interesting.
And by the way, Heather Casey is also from the same precinct.
Yes.
Where Heather Carter is from.
All right. Before we let you go, Luigi, we got to get to this bathroom bill. This has now become a striker. Explain quickly what a striker bill is.
Well, a striker bill is essentially an amendment to a bill that's still alive, and so the idea is that you want to revive a proposal, you want to introduce something new, you have not introduced a bill beforehand to carry that legislation, so you take out a draft, you take out your proposal and put it on or tag it on or attach it to a bill that's still alive, and that's what Kavanaugh had offered to do. It didn't actually happen this afternoon, but he had offered a striker that would deal with the Phoenix City's decision last February, if I'm not mistaken, to expand its anti-discrimination ordinance.
And this would be what it blocks transgender folks from using the bathroom of their choice.
That would be the impact of this proposal. So what he wants to do is to say that it would essentially penalize a person who walks into a bathroom or a locker that clearly says this is for, you know, female sex or the male sex, and then you're of the other sex and you went in, and it would be a disorderly conduct under this proposal.
And this is a true emergency clause on this?
It has an emergency clause in it. So this is a way of getting to the Phoenix ordinance and ensuring that it doesn't get implemented.
Do we know how this is going to be enforced?
You know, that's really tough to say. You know, proposals like this one, it's very tough to see how they would be implemented on the ground because, first of all, how would you know that a person is of one sex or of another sex? You could be, you know, asking a person not to go in and turn out that that person belongs to that sex, and there could be potential lawsuits. So it's tough to say how this gets, how this plays out.
I'd be curious to see if it gets to the governor's desk, what she would do with something like that.
I'd be very curious to see what happens then.
Luigi, good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
The governor's plan to change the state's sales tax system continues to meet resistance from cities and towns that say some of the changes could cut into municipal revenues. Here to talk about those concerns is Ken Strobeck, president of the Arizona League of Cities and Towns. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Ted. Thanks for inviting me.
Let's just start with the idea of reforming or changing the TPT, the state sales tax system. Does it need reform?
You know, I think it probably does. It's a system that's been in place for over 80 years, but I think we need to take a step back, sort of a little higher 30,000-foot view of this whole system and talk about why are we even in this situation. It's because the state and the cities over time have made a policy decision that we're going to be dependent on sales tax in this state. That's what our main bread and butter is going to be. And we've got a whole lot of things that play into that. Tourism, home building, all these things that have, built our economy that are based on sales tax as a revenue source. And so we're not like a lot of other states that are very, very dependent on property tax for local government or that have a very high income tax. And so over time, we have put a lot of things onto the sales tax, and yeah, it's probably time to take a look back and do some reforms on it.
And the arguments are too much paperwork, too many jurisdictions, too many interpretations for auditors. Are all of those things valid?
To some extent. And, the cities have what's called the Model City Tax Code in the state, where we have a different tax base than the state does. And so every one of the 91 cities and towns can adopt their own tax base and their own tax rates on a variety of different taxable items. And so that's where people say the confusion comes in, and that's what needs reform. But again, I go back to the system that we don't have property tax. Half the cities in Arizona do not have any property tax at all. You will not find that in any other state. So when a lot of the critics come out and say, well, we have a complex tax system and it's unlike any other state, my answer is yes, it is unlike any other state, and we've built it that way on purpose.
Can you then simplify it from where you sit? Obviously, we know what the governor thinks, and we know what those who think this is a good idea to simplify and get one form and one point of contact and one audit and keep small businesses especially from having to deal with all the different cities and the different model compacts. Is there a way, though, to streamline it, get everything through one portal and then let it spread out as so chooses?
I'm glad you used that word portal, because that's one of our proposals, and it actually builds on a bill that was passed last session that established what's called an online portal for the 18 self-collecting cities in the state. There are 18 of the largest cities that have their own sales tax system, and the confusion among, the complaint among small business owners has been, well, we have to go file different tax forms for each of these self-collecting cities. Couldn't we do that at a one-stop location, do that online? And so this bill was passed last session. Representative Rick Gray pushed this bill, and it was signed into law that creates an online portal for the self-collecting cities. And our proposal in our negotiations this year has been, let's build on that. Let's take that from the 19 self-collecting cities, expand that to all 91, add 73 more, and get all 91 cities onto this plan.
And that becomes the one point of contact the governor's looking for.
Right, and that would be where businesses could have one point of licensing and one point of remittance for their taxes, whether it's going to a different city, multiple cities, the state, whoever. It would all go through this online portal, and we think this really does work. And actually, we have tentative agreement with pretty much all the stakeholders that this is a direction that we're going to be going down. So this is kind of something that I think will be very beneficial for businesses going into the future.
Can the same thing happen regarding audits? Because there's a lot of concern out there that everyone and their brother's doing an audit on these businesses. They don't know what's up or down, and it's a complete burden.
Yeah, I think this is another one where we have some streamlining that can be done. The original proposal and what's in the bill that's now moving through the legislature would say all audits are done only by the Department of Revenue and no one else. We have a real big problem with that because we're a very, again, sales tax dependent state, and a lot of cities have supplemental auditors or their own staff auditors that do auditing of local businesses that the DOR never gets around to just because they concentrate on the large multi-city businesses. So again, we're in negotiations on this issue, and our proposal is to let DOR be the lead in every audit, whether it's a multi-city or a single city, but let cities participate in that audit as additional resources, additional help for the DOR using their standards, and then have just one point of contact for audit.
Why not expand the DOR, Department of Revenue, and let them handle everything to keep the cities out of it?
Why not let people who know the community, know the local businesses, who answer to the local elected officials, why not let them handle the audits in the local communities? It's a much better system than saying we're going to go rent an auditor from DOR who has no idea what our local businesses are.
And the big concern, there's kind of three of them here. We've talked about two of them, but the biggie, the gorilla in the room, is the construction sales tax. Changing the tax on materials at point of sale, why is that a bad idea?
Because, our system is built when it comes to home building, and we had talked about impact fees in the past. The same issue applies in this particular tax, which is the tax is designed to mitigate some of the impacts of building and growth on the communities. And so a tax is assessed on a house or a commercial building. Once it's built, it's assessed on 65% of its total sales price. 35% is deducted for labor, and then that tax goes to the state and to the cities, and the cities use that to pay for infrastructure, to pay for personnel, etc., that will be serving those new communities. It's all part of the system that is built on growth. Changing to a materials-only retail system says that you may be building a house in the town of Gilbert, but you're buying all your materials in Phoenix or in Buckeye or somewhere else. They're getting the sales tax benefits, and the community where the house is being built is getting nothing.
Is there a system, can you do something along the lines of where, yes, you keep it at this point of sale, but the tax money itself is redistributed in ways that cities like the Gilberts, the Fountain Hills, the Litchfield Park, they don't have many Home Depots out there or construction and lumber yards. Obviously, they would get hurt by this. Is there a way to redistribute the money at a later date?
Well, some of that, our argument on the other side is that it does go through the state sales tax revenue sharing system. And if the pie is expanded with more purchases happening in state, then we will get a piece of that, because cities and towns do get some of the state sales tax revenue distributed back to them in the form of revenue sharing. The issue with that is it wouldn't go to where the growth is. Revenue sharing is distributed on a population basis, and so the additional revenue would go where the population is, not necessarily where the growth is happening. And furthermore, there's a big, big hurdle we have to get over, which is a disagreement about how much now is in non-compliance. The DOR and some of their studies say that there's 31% in non-compliance now. We have auditors in cities who say it's closer to maybe 5 to 10%. The difference between those two numbers is huge in terms of revenue.
Is there a way then, looking at the whole ball of wax here, is there a compromise? Is there a way for you guys to get what you're concerned about the governor and proponents of a simplification plan to do something to help small businesses?
I think definitely there are, in at least two of those three areas, the administration and the auditing. The jury is still out on whether we can come to some resolution on construction sales tax. And there's another whole element that has to do with administration, and that is to comply with the Federal Marketplace Fairness Act, which would allow the taxation of Internet sales. And we have to be in compliance with that. There's some differences between our interpretation of what is in compliance and the other side.
So all told, last question, would you prefer to see no changes at all if it means some of the things you're concerned about, especially regarding construction?
I believe that we can reach a compromise on those issues of administration and auditing. And if it comes to construction, I'd probably say we're better off to hold off, not do anything that would be irreversible in the future. Let's do some study, get some more data, and address that issue later. But let's take the two issues that we can work on and fix those this year.
Ken, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
ASU's recent unveiling of a revised Sparky mascot was met with skepticism. At best, the reaction against the new look quickly grew louder and stronger, so much so that the university decided to dump the new design and try again. I'll talk to a reporter and an ASU student about a government representative ASU student there about the change. But first, some ASU students themselves offer their thoughts on the mascot makeover.
There's just an aura about him that it's not Sparky. It's way too Disney, it's way too animated. It's just, he's happy but for all the wrong reasons.
I don't like the Sparky at all. I think his eyes are big, I think he's weird looking. I feel like he's a little kid toy kind of thing, and I don't like that at all. I mean, we're at college, so we should have a mascot that's kind of scary looking. I mean, that's just us. We're Sun Devils, so that's just how I feel about that. They kind of sprung it on us. They didn't really tell us that they were going to be bringing out a new Sparky. They didn't even let us have any input in it.
I was pretty upset. It just kind of looks like an alien to me. It looks very cartoon, and I just feel like it's not threatening, and it goes very far from the original Sparky. And I like that the original one was made after Walt Disney, and I feel like this was Disney just trying to get rid of that, trying to get rid of the evil Walt Disney image. So I don't know, I just thought that was weird.
It looks like something you would see on a cereal box, like the Honey Nut Cheerios type of cereal thing.
I thought it was weird looking. It kind of looks like a bumblebee. It looks super evil. I know he's supposed to be a devil, and that's what my brother keeps pointing out. He's like, he's supposed to be a devil, he's supposed to look evil, but I'm like, no, it's just too much.
And here now to talk about this all-consuming nightmare for ASU loyalists is Ann Ryman, who's been covering the story for the Arizona Republic. And also joining us is Joseph Grossman, president of the undergraduate student government at ASU's downtown campus. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us. We're having a little bit of fun with this, but were you surprised at the reaction this thing got?
Yes and no. I mean, college mascots are just very historic and very traditional, and there's been other cases where when they've tried to change them or alter them even slightly, people get very upset. But I would say generally yes, the reaction did kind of surprise me.
The idea of why was a new Sparky needed? What was the reasoning here?
Well, I think the university is actually trying to approach a younger audience and kind of get more buy-in. I mean, if you hear about the New American University, we talk all the time about trying to get the entire community and embed them really into the culture of ASU, and I think that was kind of the approach that they went. Now, however, we have had a plethora of different changes throughout, I think, from 1946 up until today, and this is just kind of the approach that we currently took.
Do you know how long the decision was made? I mean, and what the criteria was for this new Sparky? What were they looking for?
They were looking for something that would appeal to a younger audience, more of superhero features. And so they kind of used that. Apparently they did a lot of marketing research also. So this wasn't a decision that was made lightly.
Indeed, and I would imagine as we take a look at the new Sparky, or the long gone Sparky, however you want to call him, doesn't look like much of a superhero to me. Looks...
No, I wouldn't say it looks so much like a superhero at all. I think it's interesting because it was coming out at the same time that Pitchfork was coming out. It was something that was initiated 2 years ago. There was a numerous amount of focus groups that were supposed to do this, and then it kind of got to this point.
Yeah.
But they are planning on trying to have action comic books and all of that stuff as well.
Looks like he's got a little emotional trouble there, if you ask me. I mean, but again, he's got to do stuff like that, and he's got to be a mascot. And when he looks like a villain from a 1920s film, it doesn't seem like a lot of folks were buying into that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that confused people is they also have the iconic logo from 1946 that's been around, and I think some people thought that they were going to get rid of him also. And so that may have played into some of it. There were people that did look at the costume mascot, though, and didn't like it. But then there were other people who also thought that that little beloved Sparky that we see everywhere is going by the wayside.
Yeah. With your position as president now, did you get a lot of response here, a lot of reaction?
Yeah, so I mean, in my role specifically, there was a lot of uprise. A lot of students didn't like it. I got contacted by numerous amount of alumni and so on and so forth. And then the university actually handled it very well. They took the feedback, and then we met with them following, I think it was a week or 2 weeks after. We originally thought it was going from the athletics perspective, but it was something that was handled under the public affairs. And so we went in and met, and that's where we met the compromise that we're currently approaching, where students are going to be able to vote, students, faculty, alumni, and each student would get one vote, and then that would be the change of the Sparky. So we came, which is kind of interesting. You look at Oregon, when they had their mascot, when they tried to make changes, there wasn't much of there was pushback from students, but the university wasn't very accepting of that. In this case, I think the university, in all circumstances, did a very good job on trying to handle it and trying to please the rest of the university and our alumni base.
What kind of response did you get from the university on this?
From the university itself, or do you mean from readers? Or?
No, from the university. I mean, because it was, it's difficult at times to get folks to talk about something that didn't work out all that well, and this didn't work out all that well. So what are they saying?
Well, they kind of admitted that, they from their constituents, they've heard a lot of feedback, is how they worded it.
Yes. And
so based on that, they decided to go to a vote. And the feedback I'm getting from readers is that, they're anxious to take part in this vote. There's a lot of people, especially alumni, are wondering, well, how exactly is this going to work? How will I vote? Do they have my email address? How are they going to reach me? How many times can I vote? I was also hearing from people today, especially, that they really want to make sure that they have some input in this, and they're wondering, will the Sparky mascot that's currently out there be offered as one of the choices?
Well, and that brings me to my next question. From what you heard and when you were reporting on this and what people were telling you in the comments and these sorts of things, was it the fact that they changed Sparky, or was it the fact that they changed Sparky to this dude?
I think it was the latter. It was a big change. Some people said they were okay with smaller changes. There are people that say, well, maybe his outfit needs to be updated a little bit. but it was the fact that it was such a big change.
So where do we go from here?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think now what we're doing, we are giving options for students, alumni, faculty, staff to have a say on that, and there's a date tab that said, I don't have it memorized at the top of my head, but we're trying to roll all of that out, and I think it's a good response because there was a lot of negative reaction to this, especially since it wasn't a small change, it was a huge change. Even coming from myself when we first found out about it, the process in that situation wasn't what we were most favorable of. Yes, granted the university moves very quickly, and something that was done 2 years ago necessarily isn't going to be, or the whole group isn't going to be filled in when we're reelected on a year or 2 year basis. So, but with that being said, I think the next step will be everyone gets one vote. That will go through the process. They get to make the Sparky how they see the university is going to apply, or give them options, and then they're going to get to create that, and then a voting process will go through, and then we'll see which one that ends up being at the first home game, football game.
All right, very good. Well, it's amazing how a mascot can cause such havoc. It's good to have you both here. Thanks for helping explain it to us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thursday on Arizona Horizon, we will hear from both sides of a lawsuit challenging the EPA's regulations on haze in Arizona, and we'll find out why the state has one of the worst poverty rates in the nation. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.